Hey guys, how's it going? Tony here, Black Hills Mommy. I am going to start off by actually apologizing if I keep moving funny in the video or anything else. Not only did I forget my tripod, I'm actually holding my camera slightly differently, and so it's on the opposite side from where it normally is. So I'm used to looking at the other side. Anyhow, so if I seem to be looking off, it's because I forgot where I'm at and I looked the wrong direction. Anyhow, what you probably came here to hear because of the title or the thumbnail or whatever is our adoption journey update. I did promise to give one about every month or so. I don't think I did one in September, but well, I'm going to make up for it now. September was really not exciting. There was not a whole lot going on. If you happen to be personal friends with me on Facebook, you know that I did a whole big statistical post that, I really broke things down for a lot of people. However, I know I'm not actually friends with a lot of people on Facebook, so you probably did not see that. So, from that breakdown, really at that point, now, mind you, there's been a couple more since then. At that point, I believe we had inquired through one website alone, we had inquired on 81 profiles. That is not including other sites. Everything total, we know we're right about 100 profiles. That is not including, that is not just single kids. That includes sibling groups. So, I mean, you can do the math on how many kids that could potentially be. And we have not been discriminatory as far as size of sibling groups. In fact, there have been several that were 5 kids, a couple that were 7 kids, a lot of 3, maybe 4 kids. So, that is what has happened there. Of those 81 to 100 inquiries, sorry, I just shifted my arm. What has come of that is a whole whop nothing. I think there were 28 workers total of the 81 that had replied in some form. Now, some of those requested our home study, and others actually just replied to tell us you were not selected. Based on what little info is available about us on that website, they decided we were not a fit. So, yeah, and of those that have requested our home study, in this entire process, there was only the one over the summer that was a potential match that did not work out. However, there is a little bit more to that now. So that child, as I had said previously, had expressed to multiple people that they did not want to be adopted by a large family. They wanted siblings, but only 1 or 2. We completely respected that. Now, a couple months have passed. We have reached out to that worker again, and it turns out there is another worker involved that was with a separate organization. And that worker spends a lot of time directly with the kids, talking to them, and she knows that concern that was expressed by that child and plans on addressing it and finding out how serious that is, or if it's based off of some specific idea, or basically what their vision is. Because again, and I said this previously, a 13-year-old can absolutely destroy a family and a home if they're unhappy with things. If they said that's not where they want to be and you put them there anyhow, we're just not going to subject everybody to that. So, alongside that child, though, through that same special worker, there is another child who's 2 years younger, so an 11-year-old, that we inquired on a couple of months ago. And then, actually, I think there was another family that had been selected, but something didn't work out. So this child became available again. So actually that special worker is, has our home study and is looking at us for both children. Now, we cannot take both children. The agency does not allow it. So we have to wait and see what's going to happen with both of them, if we're even a match for each of them. If the 13-year-old has decided to change their mind and maybe is open to the idea of us, if the 11-year-old's even open to the idea of us, like, there's all these things up in the air right now. So that is where we're at with that. Now, we have continued to inquire a little bit. I have also gotten information on some other profiles and things, but for the moment, we have actually decided to just sit still and wait out the next couple weeks over these 2 kids, because there's a lot of potential stuff going on there. Really hopeful. If either one of these kids work out and we are matched completely, they will very likely be with us before Christmas, which is super exciting for us, and I'm sure super scary for them. I have no idea if they would be with us before Thanksgiving. That is a possibility, but I have no way of knowing that. So there is that. Now, on a completely unrelated note, I have previously advocated for children who are from dissolved adoptions, dissolved, disrupted, however you want to look at it, adoptions that did not work out for some reason. Usually, sometimes it happens before the adoption is finalized, but it does happen after finalization. There are a couple of different agencies that work with those families and those children. And as I have said before, guys, there are legitimate circumstances where this is a thing. And we have to really be respectful of those families and those kids. This is not an easy decision. All of that said, I'm going to go ahead and go forward here and say that there are some serious issues with the agencies that do these programs. It's a very niche thing. I mean, it's not something every agency does. Most don't even want to touch it. Agencies like the one we go through do not personally do it, but they will forward those families on to these other agencies that do work with dissolved and disrupted adoptions. So when we very first started our journey, it was because of a child from a dissolved adoption, or an adoption that was being dissolved if they could find another home for that child. That's actually what got us started. We got our home study and everything. That agency is not in our state, so we had to go through a different one to get our home study. But a lot of things changed after all of that happened. The program, so that agency is actually a fairly good sized one. They have offices in various states and things. Well, the program was moved from the office it was in to a whole other office in another state. There is a child that they've got listed that we were interested in. So I reached out to them and asked. We had previously paid, I'm sorry if the camera's really shaky, guys. My arm is getting tired. I'm going to switch hands here. We had paid the application fee and all of that. The application fee we had previously paid to that agency still applies, but a lot of other things have changed. They sent us a whole new fee schedule, and I was so disappointed. I actually went over it with our worker this morning to express our concerns to her and explain that we will not be pursuing any adoptions through that agency at all. And once I told her everything, she said she completely respected that, because even she could not understand some of what was being suggested fee-wise. So what it was, when we very first looked into that program, it was a $3,500 program fee. I was told by the worker who was running it that that was it. They do it as a ministry type deal. They charge the families as they are placing the children, the former adoptive family, and then the $3,500 fee, and then we would have been responsible for all legal fees for the ICPC, which is the Interstate Compact to move children from state to state, as well as the legal fees in our own state and the post-placement visitation fees. We knew all of that. Well, now, in a year's time, the program fee has gone up to $5,000, and they have included so many different fees. But what's crazy is that it is not a set amount, and they did not break it down for us. What they did is they simply said $5,000 for the program fee, and then additional expenses for anywhere from $1,400 to $17,000, but no breakdown. We have no idea what that would include, but regardless, you add in the $1,400 minimum of additional fees. That's $6,400. Plus we would still have to pay for all the legal fees. Plus we would have to pay for the post-placement fees here. And I mean, the numbers just doubled. So we were like, while we would love to, I mean, that's just not realistic. And these are families that are in crisis, that for whatever their reasoning, this placement did not work out, and they are desperately trying to find a better fitting home for this child. And these agencies are taking advantage of it. I mean, it is ridiculous what some of those fees are. Then you add in, there's another agency that has really arbitrary rules where every child, it used to be that they did not allow you to have children 2 years on either side of that child that was being placed, which I understand. You want to keep age competition and stuff at bay from a child that's coming from hard places anyhow. But now they've changed it. They don't allow any children under the age of the child being placed, but they've upped it to 3 to 4 years older. So they almost want that child to be raised like an only child or something, which is not healthy for all kids. It is good for some. But anyhow, I digress. There are some serious issues with the agencies running these programs. There was a third agency we actually had looked into because of some children that were being placed through them that were dissolved adoptions. And let me tell you, their fees, it was like $22,000. It was absolutely insane. We are not looking at adopting infants domestically. And guys, we're approaching the cost of doing that. And we're trying to give children a second chance at a family life that they were not getting wherever they were. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around how greedy some of these agencies are, and that these are children who really need different environments. But I digress. I still support the families, knowing that this is not a decision that they came to lightly. Obviously, we are not stopping our adoption journey at this point. Our home study is good until May. These 2 children that I mentioned previously are prospects for us. I don't know if they're going to happen or not. So guys, we would really appreciate any prayers that you can spare, that whatever is best for these children happen. And that if we are faced with a decision where we have to choose between them, that God makes it very clear to us which child is supposed to be entering our home, or how all of this is supposed to play out. And not just for us, but for everyone involved, the children, the workers, everybody. So if you could do that, if you're the praying type, I would really, really appreciate it. Otherwise, if you have any questions or comments, leave it in the comment section down below. I do my best to answer as long as your questions are appropriate, and everything else, I don't mind answering a lot of things. I'll let you know if it's a question I'm not really okay with answering right now. And I'll delete it if it's a really bad one. But anyhow, I hope you guys are having a blessed day. Don't forget to like this video, show support for us in our journey. We really appreciate that. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss everything else coming up next. And I will see you in the next one.